Welcome back to the Yap Sessions. I about said the Marco Martinez Show. I'm not used to calling it by a new name, so welcome to Yap Sessions. There we go. So today we're going to be talking about, I know it's probably a weird shift, but the election. And no, I'm not going to be biased towards one another, going to say, oh, I'll choose this and this. It's going to be a completely unbiased one. And we're more just going to talk about really what the election is and just some talking points. Nothing like my bad. No biased decisions, nothing. We're not going to be getting into that. This isn't a Trump dicking show. This isn't a Harris dicking show. This is just in the middle, unbiased. Really just going to talk about it because, I know every motherfucker is going to be talking about it because the election is like what, less than a week away or something? November 5th, so about a week away, or I think it's about a week away, yeah. So, I know this is going to be a very heavy topic for a lot of people, and so this is just something that, it's just something that is going to be new. Whatever side decides to win it, this is just gonna be something new, something crazy, and so honestly, let's just get back into it. But first, we're gonna start off with the basics. Like let's talk about what really the electoral process itself is, because every few years, American citizens have the chance to vote for leaders on a federal, state, and local level. At the top of the ticket is a presidential election. But many other races are happening too, like congressional seats, governor races, and state legislature seats. Which is why, I don't know, I've seen it very heavily in Omaha when I go do my deliveries over there. But a lot of like Dan Osborne, I forgot this other chick, Tony something, like I've been seeing names for legislatures and stuff like that and congressmen everywhere, but I mean everywhere. And so it's not just the presidential election that really happens, but that's the main one. That's the main one that everyone sees, but there's others that also happen as well. And so the idea of voting is simple, but the structure of the system is a little more complex. In the U.S., we have an electoral college system where the winner of the presidential election is decided by electors rather than a direct popular vote. Each state has a set of number of electoral votes based on its population, and the most states give all their electoral votes to the candidate who wins the popular vote within the state. This system has been part of the U.S. election since the country's founding. While some call for reform, others believe it has benefits. And that's where I'm a little bit like, where I feel like there needs to be some change. I don't know what specific change there needs to be, but there has to be specific change. Because it almost doesn't even make it feel like our vote matters, is what the electoral college says. So, a state can say, like, where, let's say 53% of it favor Kamala and the other favor Trump, but the electoral college says, no, we want Trump. It almost doesn't even make the voices of the people feel heard. Because I mean, if a state is heavily favored in one candidate, 99% of the time it's going to be that candidate. They're going to go red or blue, whatever the case is. But when it's those states where they're neck and neck, and one party says, the electoral college says, yeah, we want this party, and the other people are like, well, what the hell? Like, it doesn't even make it sound like our voice even mattered then. Because the way I see it, it almost kind of doesn't. It's really what the electoral college says, and that's how it goes. If the Electoral College says we want Trump, they will pick Trump. If the Electoral College wants Kamala, they want Kamala. It's not what the people want. And that's what I have seen. And so that's why I feel like there needs to be a change. But I also see the benefit of it because, again, if many people are choosing Kamala because they just don't like Trump, not because of his policies, not because of what he did, they just don't like him to follow the crowd. And then that state could then favor Kamala without really sitting down saying, okay, so why should we choose her over him and vice versa? And so that's why, in a way, I also feel like the Electoral College is needed, but I feel like there has to be some change. I feel like there has to be a thing where, the Electoral College can do their votes, can do their things. However, if a certain candidate reaches like over 50% or something like that, I feel like there should be another vote. Like they should either like revote or something. Like, do you know what I kind of mean? Like there has to just be some change on that. But let's just discuss what's at stake in this election. Each party generally has different policies, like usual, and platforms, and candidates try to distinguish them by aligning with these platforms, or in some cases by challenging them. Common topics in most elections include the economy, healthcare, education, foreign policy, and climate change, among many other things. But each election season has its own unique issues, depending on current events and challenges the country is facing. So, what are some key issues we're seeing this election cycle? Here are a few themes without getting into the specifics of each candidate's stance. Because again, we're going unbiased. We're not going to be dick riding anyone. This is just going to be very unbiased. So, just for the top 5, excuse me, I'm so tired. So, for the 5 that I have just mentioned, the economy, healthcare, climate change, social issues, and foreign relations. For economy, this includes obviously jobs, inflation, and federal spending, just how the government manages resources, taxes, and unemployment, often top voters' priorities. Because, if the economy is shit, people can't live. And that's what we're in right now. There's jobs that, pay you shit, and yet rent is increasing, but salaries haven't. Like, how is that possible? Like, me being in real estate, like, I see, like, on the profit side of things, you're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to profit a lot. But on the workers, on the people who are paying the rent, you're like, well, like, why is my rent increased $200 for the month on this new contract? But I still get paid $16 an hour, or I still get paid $22 an hour, but I'm not, last time I was living, fairly well, but now with that extra $200 increase, I'm going to have to really, really, really tighten my budget to the point where I may not even have any money for anything else. And so I feel like there has to be something, and groceries are getting so expensive. I mean, hell, I got, the other day I got chicken. What was it? Yeah, it was like chicken, peanut butter, and a bunch of other things. Like there were some things that I got, and I was like, $40? I had 2 bags filled, and not like filled to the brim. One of them was meat, so I always separate the meat from everything else, and then the other bag was just everything else. $40 I spent. I look at the car, I was like, what? This was $40? Like, there's no way in hell all of this should be $40. Like, I should at least be having 3 to 4 bags, and that should be $40. The meat itself, I think, was like $13. So the rest were $27. So I was like, God damn. And so, and it's honestly, it's been to the point where what I have been seeing, depending on how you use the coupons and the apps, because when I didn't have power, I was using the McDonald's app heavily because they had a great coupons, great point system that I was using it heavily. And on a daily, sometimes I'd be spending anywhere from $10 to $15, but I was getting full. Like they were meals because they have the $5 meal deal where you have a choice of either McChicken, hot and spicy McChicken, or McDouble with a small fry, 4-piece nugget, and a drink for $5. And I would always do the McDouble, always get a third patty, with extra pickles. And then on the app, there were sometimes always like, oh, you can also get another free fry or a $2 10-piece. So now, yes, the meal is now $7. However, I now have technically 14 nuggets with everything else, vice versa. So that's why I was eating a lot. I was eating to get full, but I was also not spending as much. And the one day I wanted to make myself some chicken sandwiches, it was the day that I spent $40. The chicken tenderloin alone. Oh man, I'm yawning. The chicken tenderloins alone were the $13, like $12, $13. I made everything else. I had about 3 sandwiches, and I still have half the container of the chicken tenderloins. And I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these. Like I'm full. I'm done. I don't feel like eating chicken tenderloins for a bit. What do I do with the rest? They're gonna go to waste, and I'm gonna throw them away. That was $13 of waste. And so like right there, I just spent $40 making 3 sandwiches when I could have gone to hell, even just like Raising Cane's, got their chicken sandwich, or like Chick-fil-A or something like that, got their chicken sandwich meal for $10, $12, and I would have been full. And bam, that's it. So I feel like there are things for a single person home, and really ones with families all around. Just things are getting expensive, but wages have not increased at all, and that's getting a little bit frustrating. But 2, healthcare. So, access to healthcare, prescription drug prices, and insurance are consistently in focus, with many voters interested in changes or reforms. So just like healthcare, insurance sucks ass, and you can't even go to the doctor. Hell, my girlfriend, she was having some problems, and so she doesn't have insurance right now. She will on the 1st of November, but at the time she didn't have insurance. And so she used just over-the-counter medicine. And we were hoping the over-the-counter medicine was gonna help her, which we believe it did, which is great. But at the time being, when we didn't think it was working, she called to even just quick care, not even like a full doctor's visit, just a quick care, and just wanted to see, okay, so what. How much would it be just to sit the fuck down? To check in, I think it was like $130, I think. It was either like $100 or $100 something to just enter, for them to just take you. Not for them to diagnose you or like to check to see what the hell's going on with you. Just to enter was like $100. $130. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, now imagine what the rest would be. And you can't leave so once you get checked and whatnot, you have to go back, and then you would have to pay the other services. So it's like, that is crazy. And that was someone without insurance. Then put someone with insurance. Yeah, they may be paying like a $10 copay, $20 copay, whatever the case may be. But there are times where There are specific things that insurance is not going to either cover all the way or cover at all. And then it's still going to be pricey. So it's like healthcare, something in there needs to change, really. The third one is climate change. As climate issues become more pressing, voters increasingly want to know candidates' policies for environmental protection and energy reform, which is true because there are places where it's getting hotter than normal. Well, the Sahara Desert had its like first rain in like decades, but I guess it is cycles. I mean, there are times where it does rain here and there, but it's just, I think during the summer, the average temperature has been increasing ever so slightly, which to some people was like, oh, that's nothing. Like, ooh, 1 degree. Give it 20 years, now it's gonna be 20 degrees. Like if it increases by 1 every year, it's gonna take a big toll on us, and it's gonna start drying everything. And yeah, no, that's not gonna be good. Social issues, topics like education, gun control, and civil rights continue to be focal points, with candidates often proposing different methods to address these complex issues. Foreign relations, with global events affecting natural interests. This election cycle, voters may be focusing on each candidate's approach to international diplomacy, trade, and defense. So how does this affect the average voter? Well, each candidate has to work hard to connect with different groups across the political spectrum, and this brings us to the importance of voting itself. Voter turnout varies by region, age, and other factors, and in each election, turnout is critical in determining the outcome. The decision to vote, for some, is civic duty, while others, it's a way to directly impact policies that affect them. Voters from all sides want to know that their voices count. Many organizations and leaders across the country advocate for increased voter turnout, believing that a higher turnout helps better reflect the will of the people, which is almost kind of like what I just said. Now let's talk briefly about the importance of election transparency. Election integrity is a hot topic this cycle, and ensuring a fair and transparent election process is essential for democracy. There are many checks and balances in place to safeguard the voting system and ensure that every legitimate vote is counted. In recent years, state and federal agencies have worked to enhance cybersecurity and address misinformation that can sometimes cloud election season. Because I believe the last election that occurred, when Biden got announced as the president, there has been some controversies on voter fraud and how it wasn't really as transparent as what everyone's been claiming it to be. But I mean, hey, who are you deciding to vote for, though? I know who I'm going to vote for. Who are you deciding to vote for? And honestly, I feel like what needs to happen in a way is, because the only way to vote is to go to a place in your city and town to then go vote. I feel like they should be able to vote online. Like we can just go on a website and click vote who we want to, and that's it. Because in that way, and electronically, not paper, electronically, because in that way, everything's going to be accounted for electronically. There's not going to be, it's because it's going to be a lot harder to try to fake some things because with paper, you could always just grab a new one, forge it, and bam. With electronic, it's already been accounted for. But that's what I think. That they feel like they need to make it electronically. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? But before we wrap up, let's take some key takeaways. The U.S. electoral process can be complex, but it's built to allow every eligible citizen a voice in governance. Key issues like the economy, healthcare, climate change, and more play a significant role in what drives voters and candidates alike. Voting is a powerful way for people to express their values and preferences for the future direction of the country. Every vote counts and can shape the outcome. Transparency and integrity in elections are fundamental, and this election season is no exception. Efforts continue to ensure fair voting and results that reflect the choice of the people. So, like I said before, what are your guys' thoughts? Who are you going to vote for? And I'm not talking about, oh, I'm voting for this person because of the la la la. No, just who are you voting for? Say the name, comment in the thing if you want to, if you have the balls to just say it. Early voting has started. I am thinking about going to vote sometime this week, but because if you do it on election day, it's going to be packed. So I'm thinking about doing it this day. But let's see. Let's see. Again, this is This is Yap Sessions with Marco Martinez. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.